Welcome back to the KASH podcast, a multi-passionate common space for all things mental health, mental wellness, and more. I'm Kiana, aka KASH.
I'm Ham Van Dam, aka me.
And we're back with another episode.
Episode 4.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you guys for continuing to tune into the KASH Talk podcast week after week. Follow us everywhere at _KASH CO.
We're doing that in the beginning.
We are. We're trying to get our follows up. You can follow me everywhere at Frostmon Guru. Where can they follow you?
You just said it.
At _KASH CO. There we go. All right, yeah. So welcome back. This is week 4. Last week, we discussed what we see the KASH community moving forward. But we specifically let me cook.
You said that every week. That's not what we
let me cook.
About. Or add that to your intro.
Yes,
so I know.
I'm adding it.
Well, you gotta type that.
Can you let me? You can let me intro it. All right. Like I said, last week we always talk about what we could do at the KASH community moving forward, but we specifically zeroed in on a show review, one of our shows that we started watching early this year.
Well, we finished it.
We finished season 1. And called Severance. Great show. This is not an ad, unfortunately.
No. But yeah, we spoke about the show, gave a review, talked about it. Like, would we want to be severed if that was a opportunity presented to us? And we basically came to the conclusion that only corrupt people would do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if that's something you're interested in us doing moving forward. I know it was like a little rocky last week, because it was new for us. And, some days you just don't feel like doing anything. And that was one of those days for me. But I wanted to get that episode out for you all. So I tried my best. So, yeah.
I appreciate the transparency. But this week, we're back and we're better once again.
And this is the last episode of the month of January. So we have 2 things to introduce this week.
Yes.
But one thing that we will be doing moving forward, for the last episode of every month, I'll briefly just talk about some of the books that I read, because I did say on the Instagram _KASH CO that I will be sharing some of the books that I read monthly, because a lot of times, like, if you look at everybody's stories, we're sharing random books that we've been reading or trying to get more into reading, if that's a habit that you're trying to create this year. So I'm going to be sharing mine just for anybody that's interested, or if you just need some recommendations, if you're interested in any of the books that I like. I have a really wide
palette.
Yeah, I read almost anything. almost heavy on the almost. But yeah, so let's get started with that. And the topic of this week will come after. We're going to just, you read the title of the episode.
They did.
But whatever. All right. So before we get started in this week's topic, I just wanted to recap these books. So the 3 books, that was a goal of mine, to read 3 books this month.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I hit that goal. The first book I read was like a YA book, young adult, and it was called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And it followed 2 Mexican-American teenagers, one that went by Ari, but that's Aristotle, and Dante. Ari was more like, suffered with self-doubt, didn't really know where he belonged, didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, had a lot of family issues. And Dante was more like articulate, self-assured, like he really knew he knew himself, like he knew what he wanted to try, things like that. And it was just, the book was just about their friendship and how they discovered the universe, discovered things about themselves, things like that. The second book I read was a romance book, and it was like the fake dating trope, which is basically fake dating. They pretend to go out for an event and then usually they fall in love. We love those. But that was called Make a Scene. And that followed, what was her name? Rita or Retta, something like that was her name. I'm never going to remember the names. But basically, her cousin stole her man, and they getting married, and she got to go to their wedding.
Oh Lord.
Exactly. So, you know, she's like, I'm like, I don't have no man right now, but like, I'm a successful baker, you know, things like that. So she meets this guy named Duncan, and he agrees to fake date her. And of course, they fall in love because that's how they all do.
Sounds like a rom-com.
It kind of was giving rom-com, but I really enjoyed it. And that was Make a Scene, once again, by, I think that was by Mimi Grace. Yes, Mimi Grace. And the last book I read is The Atonement. Now, hear me out. This is a series, right? And it's really bad. But it's really good bad. Like, it gives, like, You, but worse. Because they're married. Like, worse? Yeah, so, like, you know how, like, Joe and Love, they be doing their nonsense together? But worse.
But worse.
Yeah. In a series. There's 3 books. So, basically, of course, Night is getting to it early. The last book, I'm not even going to talk too much about it because it wasn't it's, if you're interested, look into it. But basically, the husband is like a killer. He has a lot of secrets. The wife finds out about it. She develops her own secrets. And then they do bad things together and then do bad things apart. And every book you're like, what the fuck? But but it's entertaining. Is it great? No. But if you like that whole, like, it's definitely dark, and I would read the trigger warnings for this book. But if you like nonsense with a little thrill, I would suggest this one. But out of the 3 books I read this month, I would rank them in the order I just presented them in. Aristotle and Dante, Make a Scene, and then The Atonement. We'll put the books and their authors in the show notes, and I'll also post it on Instagram. Just in case we don't remember to put it in the show notes.
Very cool.
Yeah. So those were the 3 books I read this month.
Loving you diving back into reading. I don't know if they know, but you was a big reader last year as well, especially in January. Mm-hmm. You went crazy with the books. And I don't know, you had some good mojo when you were actively reading. Reading.
I now like lean towards, because life be lifing, I lean towards audiobooks a little more now. And if you listen to audiobooks, it counts as reading. Like,
ooh, it is a topic in itself.
Yes, because like it's kind of ableist in my opinion. Like, you're just, I don't know. However you retain the book, you finished it.
Yes.
It's the same content. Somebody's just saying it to you. But don't get me riled up. But yeah, reading has been very good for me. And then I don't know if we spoke about this. I won't even get too into it, but I use it a lot for habit stacking, which is like doing multiple habits at one time. So I really want to enjoy reading. So I listen to an audiobook, and to make folding clothes like more enjoyable, I would also do listening to the audiobook while folding clothes. So it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, kind of. But yeah, that's enough about the books.
Okie doke. So what is the second thing you would like to let our listening audience know?
Okay, so the second thing I wanted to mention is that we are now doing, or now have, a mailbag. I didn't know we were doing a sound. But basically, for those of you that don't know, this is just like a suggestion inbox that you can email. You could email us suggestions, like I just said, requests to come on the show if you want to be a guest on the Cash Talk Pod. If you have any questions about an episode we did, or if you have any, feedback, or anything you want to see us do in the future, which is a suggestion. It's just,
it is.
So yeah, if you have any of those things, you can email us at cashcotalks. So KASHCOTALKS @gmail.com. That was my work voice right there.
It was. That's great. Send us your thoughts
to the Cash Co Talks
mailbag.
You should have just left it where I was, because it kind of like
I tried to make it cool.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, this week's topic.
Let's do it. All right. Are you gonna lead us off?
I did a lot of talking.
Okay,
You
let's
can
do
do
it.
it.
I'll do it. All right. This week's topic is called getting comfortable, sorry, with uncertainty. Wow.
Yeah. So
It's definitely something that is
prevalent.
it's so prevalent. I lack it.
It's pretty common.
Is it a common lack?
Yeah, it's a part of life. Life is uncertainty,
Oh
and we're
man.
always on. Not everybody's always on edge, but we're always unsure of sureness. Basically, like
This
we're
is true. You will say I like that you say life be life, and I have a way more vulgar saying for life, but
well, I'm trying to
it
keep the
makes
cussing to a minimal.
yeah, we're gonna keep it at life be life, and it do, and the uncertainty of life definitely
Yeah.
makes the journey very interesting.
So
what is uncertainty?
okay. So essentially, uncertainty is the lack of sureness, being uncertain, you know. As humans, we always try to do the things that make us feel like more secure, you know. You do things you're familiar with. I am a creature of habit. If I've been to this grocery store, this is the first grocery store I went to when we moved here. Best believe if we move 20, 30 minutes away from that grocery store, I'm still going.
This is true with you.
And it could be an anxious thing, but that's all, fear, anxiety. Those are all the emotions that sometimes comes up with uncertainty. And it's kind of like we kind of put this negative scope around those emotions. So we steer clear of things or new things or anything that we feel uncertain about. When it's like, who told us having these emotions are bad? They're emotions for a reason. Feel them,
No, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to like, I like your definition of uncertainty in terms of it being like a lack of sureness. Like it makes.
I probably took that off something, so don't even credit me. I read it somewhere.
Okay. I'm trying to give you some points.
No, this topic we brought up, yes, but I've read a lot of articles on this. I've listened to a lot of podcasts on it. So
you are certified, but
I don't want to say that. But I'm well read.
Well read. Yeah. Just uncertainty in general. The lack of the unknown. I feel like we spoke a little bit about this in last season about being uncomfortable, like being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
But now we have a term for it.
Yeah. I like how you cooking up.
Yes. This year is more about putting terms to the feelings we felt last time.
And yeah. So why are we uncomfortable with uncertainty? I think for me personally, I am uncomfortable with uncertainty just because I have found out that I am most comfortable with structure, even though I actively avoid structure at times. I find that the best version of myself is like during being structured. And that is interesting in itself because life in itself has a tendency to like
not be structured.
Thank you for finishing my sentence. I was trying to find a non like way of saying it like that.
Nah.
But it makes sense. Like life has a way of kind of having these
life is like unsteady, a box of chocolates.
Unsturdy pillars.
You never know what you'll get.
When you're dealing with certain things, especially because it's an ever changing like spectrum or cycle or stuff like that. It gets weird.
Box of chocolates.
You're so funny. So I think that I'm uncomfortable with uncertainties mainly because like I like to know things. A lot of my thought process is based on logic. Some of it is based on faith as well, but most of it is based on logic. And I think that the uncertainty of not knowing stuff gives me anxiety, and I don't like that at all. How about you?
For me, I guess it's more of a fear of not knowing how I will feel during, after, or like my thoughts about whatever it is. So I'm more anxious about me than the activity. Okay. So example would be the pole class. So
Newsflash, she's taking a pole class.
I'm trying to. So this year I want to get more into like group exercise because I tried the whole personal training, going to the gym. It's not for me. I need somebody to like tell me what to do and other people around me doing the same thing so I could feel motivated. And I really want to get more involved in like Pilates, pole, dance classes, just random activities that are like also exercise and, you know, they're fun. So I recently started Pilates last week, and
Rich people yoga.
Huh?
Rich people yoga.
I guess. But that done threw me off.
No, I did. You recently started
Pilates last week, and I was like, okay, like I got to go to a new place to, you know, start this class, a class I've never done. And it was reformer Pilates. There ain't no mat. Like the mat class I done did or like the Peloton app or YouTube, but this was a reformers class. I have never stepped foot on one of those machines. I've never even seen one in real life. So at first I was like, I don't want to really do this. Like I canceled my first session just because like I was just fearful of like, what if I don't like it? What if she doesn't like me? Like I've never been to this gym before. Like, you know, and also because I'm a Black woman, it's also like, will there be other Black people there?
That's always a question.
I'm like,
to ask.
am I the only one? So that was that in itself. And guess what? I did it. I loved it. And I paid a ridiculous amount of money for these sessions because they are private sessions. But for them being private sessions, they're actually extremely cheap compared to real Pilates prices.
This is true.
So it's for me, it was a lot. But it recently came up. So that's one way I overcame it. But recently I put in an inquiry for a pole studio that was in like maybe 10, 15 minutes away.
Yes.
I've been to a pole studio in Syracuse already, and I've taken classes at another studio before, but I'm like, oh, let me try something new. Yeah. This is when I thought I wanted to try something new. So I put the tour stuff in. She tells me like, oh yeah, come at 5:15 on a Wednesday. I'm like, girl, I get off work at 5. You want me to speed demon over there? And I'm like, whatever.
She does.
And I'm just like, you couldn't just give me a weekend. So it ended up snowing that day, and Shane had the car. So I rescheduled. I was supposed to go on Sunday. And throughout this whole time of waiting between that Wednesday and Sunday, I just kept, like, the cons, they just kept coming and coming. I was just scared, like, what if I don't like it? What if this? Like, all the questions I had about Pilates, I basically have the same questions here. But this time I kind of, like, paced myself and said, why am I feeling this way? I acknowledge the fact that it is something new. And yes, I'm going to feel uncomfortable at first, but it's because it's new. That's how people feel. It's normal. Why am I giving a negative, connotation to it? Yeah. And then I decided to come up with a real pros and cons list that wasn't feelings based, but fact based. Like, how much is it? How long does it take me to get there? Can I bring friends? Like, those type of questions. And it turns out that actually wasn't the best studio for me because I want to do it leisurely. I want to be able to do it with friends. And that, studio did not give that option. So I did opt out of going to the tour. And instead of doing my usual no show, I just don't show up because I'd be like, I don't know them. They don't know me. They'll never see me again. I sent an email.
The growth. And
I said, I am no longer interested. Thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. Now, did the email come very late in the day? It did. But one step at a time.
Yeah, we got to take baby steps. Proud of you. Because I did not think you were actually going to send the email.
No.
So proud of you.
Because I was like, they're going to be so mad at me. Like, who, girl?
These people do not know
They don't know me. Liz or whatever her name was on the email. That's a very general name. And it could be anybody.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So it's like, all those thoughts went through my head, like fearful of the activity, fearful of letting them down because I didn't show up. Like, it's just like a circle of it where it's like, acknowledge it, okay, but now what are you going to do about it? Be solution-based.
Solution-based, we love that.
Heal your thoughts. Like your thoughts around uncertainty, like, work on those thoughts around them. That's like what I tried to think. Like, let's work on this. Your thoughts around this every time you try something new is a little off. Like, let's see why you feel this way.
Indeed. All right, so let's talk about some things we've been avoiding.
Pole class.
Pole class for you.
I don't know. For me, it's just avoiding a lot of uncertainty. It's just avoiding like a lot of things that I know that if I put the time and effort into it, it will most likely come out great. But it's the fear of it coming out bad is
overpowering.
Yeah, it's overpowering that, and it's like, why do I even feel that way? Like, I've done stuff that they be coming out ass, but
that's hilarious.
But it's not majority of the time, and at least I learned something from that. You know, like, yeah, this graphic or this live session or whatever, like, say it's something at work, didn't go as well this time. What did I do well, and what can I improve on? And now let's address this in a different way when when I have to approach it. You know?
Yes. I mean, I feel like what I've been avoiding. What have I been avoiding? Let's see. I think I've been avoiding. Do I avoid things?
Not really.
I'm a pretty head-on person.
You're just like, oh, I'll just do it.
I'm confrontational, sometimes to a fault. But in like relation to avoiding certain that's uncertain. Let's see.
I mean, don't force yourself. If you
I'm not forcing myself. I'm just trying to think, because it's like I don't usually avoid a lot of things, but there's things that I do avoid. Let's see. Oh, I'm avoiding actively being consistent with my damn exercise regimen.
And why?
Why am I avoiding being consistent with my exercise regimen?
I'm distracted right now. Night is licking this door.
I don't understand. Especially while I'm giving such a great. And this is the Cash Talk podcast. Yeah. I'm avoiding it. Maybe, and I think it's subconscious. It
usually is. That's the point.
Because I do a lot of work, and I think that I think I'm actually just avoiding being deliberate with it. In terms of like, I know I have mad work. Why am I doing that? There's a deep rooted issue. I don't know.
Okay, so what is the issue?
I don't know.
Why are you feeling uncertain about the activity?
I'm feeling uncertain about the activity because I feel as though I can put it off until later, because it's not the most important activity I need to do.
But why do you feel that way? If it's something that you're currently saying, like, if that is the example that came to mind, clearly it's at the top of your priority list. If that came to,
I mean, it's the example that came to mind in terms of like this specific topic, because I don't feel as though I try to avoid anything that I have to do, like business-wise.
Yeah, but you have to be healthy.
This is true. And that's why I said I think I don't have to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that it's that's a subconscious, which is like a deeper conversation about how like I need to value my health. And like, I mean, that's true. But the uncertain part about it is that I just feel as though I'm eventually going to get there, or at least I think I'm eventually going to get there. I'm not sure about it. And
so you're afraid of failing, like trying and
I'm
failing.
always afraid of failing.
That's the real issue. See, my coaching is coming in.
Look at that. I'm always afraid of failing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is a well-known fact about me.
And why let me not turn this into a coaching session. Continue. I was about to be like, and why do you think you can this is something that you can fail in?
Oh, why do I think that this is something I can fail in? It's going to turn
into a coaching session.
I mean, it's good conversation.
Okay.
And it relates to the fact that why am I uncertain in this? I think it's more likely that I'll fail, or at least I think that, because I have no vested interest in being extremely healthy, and I feel like, and I see working out as an extreme, And
why? It's movement for your body.
I understand that, but it's not the working out that I like to do.
Then why not find a working out you
These
like
are
to do?
these are solutions that are solution based for me.
So what workouts are there that you like to do? Basketball,
Yes, in itself, yes. Um, but
swimming.
yes,
This
but
I asked you a question.
yes,
Like,
and I'm saying yes. I'm saying that these things are not readily accessible to me in the sense that I feel as though I have time to do it.
I'm not even gonna do it. So let's move on.
All right, move on. Moving on.
I didn't have anything.
Those were things. Those were
because it was
things.
gonna go too deep.
Those were things that I've been avoiding. What have you been avoiding?
We just did mine.
Okay. So how or why is it important to embrace this level of uncertainty? We're gonna get here anyway. So,
I don't know. So I feel like we planned sometimes, like kind of to go off both of us. We plan so much that sometimes when things aren't on plan or outside of our control, we kind of freeze. So like you just said, like you don't like to work out because the failure or like you haven't found the workout. So instead of embracing that and be like, let me like not instead of doing what I'm currently doing, which is trying a whole bunch of workout classes, you're like, nah, I'm good. Like
this is true.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of important to embrace the uncertainty because, like I just said, you won't really know what you'll enjoy until you try it. Try it. You're gonna like it. Like Yo Gabba Gabba said.
I mean, that's how I found out I liked yoga.
See? You just tried it, but I'm pretty sure he was like, this stretchy white people stuff.
It is stretchy white people stuff.
They stole it. But anyway.
I think it's important to embrace the uncertainty about it. Just because I think that my uncertainty comes from the fact that there's no lack of structure in my workout, which probably means I need a personal trainer. Yeah. But I don't want to get a personal trainer. That's not what I want. You need
something else.
It
could be something simple, like you said you like Google Calendar, so maybe you block out time and that's your workout time. And you reward yourself somehow because rewards do work. Now, don't reward yourself with food because that defeats the purpose. But like reward yourself with something like, oh, I worked out today. Like, you know that you're gonna have more energy. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, like
working out is hard.
Like for me, for instance, like today I worked out before work, which I usually don't feel like doing. But I knew I was really groggy this morning. I knew that if I just got on the Peloton for 15 minutes, I'll like have that energy for the day. I didn't have to drink coffee till 11. That's the first because I drink coffee right away.
The endorphins were endorphing.
Yes. So I don't know. So the reason I believe embracing uncertainty is like another reason why I believe it's important is because for me, I have trouble like finding places or things that work for me in general. So not only just workout wise, but like jobs, like friend groups, things like that. And it's like, you're always like on edge. Like you don't apply to that job because what if you don't get it? Okay. Like that's the point. That's why you're applying. You're supposed to do the interview. like
that's so funny to me because I feel like besides like working out, and I think that's only because I just don't like the act of working out. Like I like doing physical activity. I just don't like the act of working out. And I don't feel like if I just go and play basketball for 7 days straight, I will lose weight and get super in shape.
I mean, you would be in shape. That's cardio.
Cardio. This is what I'm saying. Like,
I think you need to reframe what you think exercise is. I think that's your. I think
that's what I need to do.
You don't like the word itself and the stigma around the word, so you are putting everything in the exercise category that doesn't really need to be exercise. But that
I like physical activity.
We will yes, but exercise is a physical activity, Shane. But anyway, we'll work out this on our private time, because there's some debunking we need to do here.
Okay.
But continue.
I lost my train of thought.
No, basically, it seemed like you were steering towards saying like outside of working out, everything else you don't really.
Yeah,
have.
I don't really feel. Thank you. But outside of working out, I don't really feel uncertain about a lot of things. Like just to,
then
and
this episode not for you.
I mean, it's
I'm
not,
kidding.
but I'm giving perspective. I'm saying, like, there was a time where I was uncertain about a lot of things, and I'm just thinking back now about how I figured out that I was certain about what I wanted to do, or just certain about, like, even getting comfortable with that level of uncertainty in different aspects of my life. Like, the main reason being, like, when I wanted to pursue a career in music, like, it's so many uncertain things when it comes to music. Like, unless you have a 9-to-5 music industry job, most of your money is being made off of that level of uncertainty, and that is, like, nerve-wracking. But I knew that I got comfortable with it because I understood the nature of the beast, and that
you were in tune. So then, for someone who doesn't feel like for someone who feels like they are comfortable with uncertainty, then what would be your advice outside of music to people that are uncomfortable with uncertainty?
that aren't comfortable with
that are not.
I think it's a process. You have to find, and gosh, you guys know I hate being cliche, but you have to kind of find it within. Like, it's not something that and me personally, and I'm not an expert, but it's something that I literally just experienced, and I had to continue to experience it over and over and over again, and to a certain extent, get comfortable with failure, even though I hate failure, and it kind of works both ways with me. You have to get comfortable with, like, understanding that the way that you think, or the way that you think things are supposed to be, or the way that you think things are supposed to go, they just don't go those ways. Sometimes they do. But just be prepared. And I think that's the better word for it. Like, just be prepared for the unexpected, in a sense. Like, I always say, I have very low expectations for everybody.
Yeah, and that's my problem. I have high expectations for people.
I have very low expectations for everybody, and I expect people, I'm saying expectation. I have very low expectations for everybody, and I allow people to surprise me. And I thought that's my baseline with everybody. And I didn't get here by accident. It was by, like you said, having very high expectations and being disappointed over and over again. And then I'm like, maybe my expectations are too high for people, and I need to meet people where they are, or I need to meet these expectations where they are. And that's how it works for me.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, I'm still uncomfortable with uncertainty. So here's some ideas.
Give us. All right. So give us, instead of you trying to do
I kind of have, like, ways that I will try to. So my problem is a little different, because a lot of things that I was uncertain about worked for me. Like, I'm one of those weird cases where
I told you so.
Like, a whole bunch of people will be like, why are you so nervous? This always works out for you. Or why are you so this? You always blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, this is how my brain works. Like, I just, like, I'm an anxious person. Like, I don't know. Almost every job interview, I've only failed one. I didn't even fail. They just didn't pick me. It is what it is.
This is true.
But I've only not gotten a job that I've gotten an interview for one time, and I was like 17.
That's tough.
Like, and usually I'm the person in the middle of the interview to be like, I'm no longer interested.
This is also true.
And I do that to a lot of jobs.
This is also true.
But
I think you had a level of uncertainty before you got your recent job.
I'm still uncertain. I'm sitting here like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I'm trying my best. But I feel like...
Not to cut you off, but are you saying that you live in this state?
Yes, I live in a state of uncertainty. And I kind of, like... I'm learning more about myself. So it's like I'm learning what I'm actually capable of and what I actually can do. And it's probably trauma rooted, but like it's always trauma rooted.
Always is.
But I, like, for instance, I have problems doing things by myself. Like, I don't know, like, I cannot do things by myself. And for some reason, I want to say like the second half of last year, I was kind of forced to do things by myself. And now I'm like, oh, like, this is easy. Will I do it often? No, because I'm always going to feel uncertain. But I know I'm capable of doing it and like navigating.
Love so that for you.
Like when we went to Lincoln and Mary's wedding, I went to Florida, flew to Florida, got to my hotel, all of that by myself. And I know some people listening like, girl, like, okay. But for me, that was a lot. Granted, I had to be on the phone with people the whole time. Like,
this is true.
And I had to have like a certain type of podcast on. Like but I learned that about myself. Like I had to go on a trip before that by myself. And I was like, okay, this is what works for me. And here's what doesn't work for me. So next time I'm faced with this feeling of uncertainty, I can make a decision and I can plan with that. And I just feel like of course it varies with situations, but it's kind of letting go of things that are out of my control. Like I have to go to this. There's nothing I could do. I have to be alone. Like Shane left a week before because he was in the wedding party. I had these are our friends. Like, I'm not going to your wedding. Like, I'm showing up. I don't care if I'm kicking and crying. I'm showing up. But that was out of my control. And I had to just get over how I was feeling about being alone. And that's it. And the people that have me on my personal Instagram saw my door set up of the hotel room because I don't play. I had the couch, the desk chair, the stopper on. I don't play. And that's, just some of the steps I took because I was just uncertain about that trip. Not even the trip, just traveling alone. So it's like, and then I also tried to like, I'm trying, because I haven't perfected this, to try to like avoid dwelling on things that didn't go as planned. So granted, Indeed. Sometimes things do go as planned, but they be flops. There's flops in there. And it's not feeling defeated by those flops. Like, eat that, learn from it. What can you do different? What did you do great? Let's try again another day. It don't have to be right away. It doesn't have to be 2-3 weeks from now. It could be a year from now. Just at least give yourself the chance to try again. And be patient with yourself. It doesn't happen. Change doesn't happen overnight. You have to be kind to yourself. And I'm learning all those things because I'm really, really hard on myself. And
for no reason.
And it sucks. It's like I said, it could be a trauma thing. But it's hard for me to embrace all my accomplishments or like things that I've succeeded in because I'm always stuck in what went wrong. And I kind of address life in that way. Like everything's going to go wrong. People suck. And granted, people do suck, but that doesn't mean everything in life is going to go wrong. Like things I can control can be a little better. I cannot control the government, so they could just suck.
They can.
Like,
they absolutely can.
I can take the right steps to make sure that my voice is heard, voting, sharing the right facts and, not sharing misinformation and things like that. But like, they still gonna suck.
That's hilarious. Let's move on.
They don't always have to. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's kind of all I really had for this topic this week. Like,
okay. I think it's a good topic. Yeah, I think we definitely could have got way deeper.
Yeah, but
and maybe we will in a future episode and maybe I'll let you coach me one of these episodes
after this class.
Yeah, after you get your.
I have my coaching certificate, but
you do.
That was self-paced. This class, they got me talking to strangers. Like practicing with Shane and my mom is like whatever.
It's tough,
but Beth Ann and all them random. I made that name up. That is not a person in my class.
Your name makeup game is ridiculous.
I think it's the Guyanese.
Beth.
She gotta have 2 names.
Oh, that is hilarious. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I am your lovely co-host, Ham Van Dam. You can follow me everywhere at Frostman Guru.
And it's Kiana, aka Kash, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _KASH CO. And don't forget, you can now email us suggestions, requests to come on the show, some questions, feedback, all types of jazz at cashcotalks@gmail.com.
I'm doing jazz hands.
See you next week.
See you next week.